You cannot determine when I will heal from the trauma you have caused me.
We've talked about red flags. We've defined it.
You know in your mind you are fooling yourself, but
Right.
you still go ahead.
If my trusting you is going to put my life and my children's life and the things that God has committed into my hands in danger,
Right.
then I think that it is going to also be in God's interest that you protect yourself.
A lot of men that are toxic, okay, and people keep extending grace to know the kind of power, or even if it's a woman, the kind of power they wield, and so they use that as a trap, and then you are, in that for life.
In trying to extend grace to people, we then lose a part of ourselves.
Why should something pure then be toxic?
So trust is very, very important to relationships, whether it's a professional relationship or whether it's a personal relationship. But at what point does trust become toxic? That is going to be the topic of our conversation today. So welcome back to Sozo TV, a podcast for men and those that love them. With me today is my big boss, our Oga, our Papa in the house, the man of wisdom, timber, caliber. We call him the GQ pastor.
Oh God. Oh God.
Mr. Lausa Adewuyi,
Oh, God.
thank you very much for being with us.
I'm happy to be here.
And the multi-potentialite, I'm sure that's what we call him,
Oh, God.
a man of many parts.
The polygons.
The polyglot,
Oh, God.
doing many things, earning plenty money everywhere. Mr. Presley Ademola, nice to meet you. Nice to have you here again. And so we're going to be talking about trust, toxic trust, and red flags. So, many times when people come to us and, begin to complain about their relationships, whether it's personal or professional, you can almost tell that. But all these things you were telling me, there are signs and red flags. How come you entered with your two eyes wide open? So let's share our thoughts and experiences about how you've seen people walk into open red flags. So let's start with the younger and then the older.
I've definitely been I would say, a victim of
Wow.
this conversation.
I didn't know that it was even get home. Yeah.
Definitely. I think a part of it you might also know because I use the analogy of the phone a number of times. But I'll take it a step further to say that, when you're in a dating relationship, for example, and, even in conversations, they are asking you certain things that makes you feel like a different human being.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, I don't know where you got this from. Like, why are you even asking me this? Why do we have to have these conversations? The full conversation is a lot more prominent, so maybe I should just stay with that. So she says, for example, oh, open your phone, I want to check something. I just hand it to you. And in that moment I clock that you are thinking about maybe checking my DMs on Instagram, my text messages and all. And in that moment I say to you, I don't know what it is you are looking for, but can I let you know, while I don't have any problem with you checking my phone, you are communicating something to me that you don't realize, and that is you don't trust me.
But is that trust or caution?
I don't even know. Maybe maybe it's the education I need, because I'm in a relationship. The way I see it, I can be there will never be a situation where you need to get into my phone that you can't. That's the philosophy I have for a relationship, because why am I in a relationship with you if I can't share this part of my life with you, right? But then when you make, because again, after a while, of course, and comes back to what you say about red flags, after a while, when this relationship will then hit the rocks and things work out, I would ask myself questions like, how come throughout the entire duration I never wanted to check their phone? And for me, my reason at the time was I trust this person, and I would say it, back then, to say, you want to check my phone every other day or every other week. Has it ever occurred to you that I have never asked you, and there were instances that I also asked myself the question, is this, I guess, blind trust? Am I the one that's doing something wrong? Or should I also want to desire to check your phone from time to time. So again, I'm aware that there might be some limitations in my own understanding of even what this is at all and how it applies to relationship. And it's also something I'm very open to finding out from both of you, because you have a lot of experience.
Trust
where
comes
this is
from,
concerned.
it comes from experience, right? It's experiential knowledge of who you are with. So it comes from reliability of that person, the consistency of that person. However, the example you gave came from a damaged personality. That person is actually taking the blood, so it's cutting you for something that you are not part of. So the blood is now flowing in your own relationship for the harm that is not caused. You are suffering from injury from something you didn't cause, because it's basically from an experience. So when Don said, is that
Caution.
or caution? So for that person, it's caution. Be cautious that because what I experienced that time, let me be careful in this so that I don't fall into that trap again. So you are the one suffering the consequence of a prior action. But it's about healing.
Right.
It's about moving on from what you suffered and understanding that this person is that person, is not you, and is not the next person. So I should not suffer for what your prior experience has been. So basically, you also need to understand our partner or our spouse. So if you understand their story, you probably understand why they're behaving that way, and you can extend grace because you know where it's coming from. The way I lived my life earlier on, and the way my wife accepted, and then the way I've tried to behave thereafter, has been realizing the consequence of my action.
Yeah.
So in my early years, you could see me with different women, and I was asking the question earlier on, how many states have you crossed to look for a woman? I may find myself in Sokoto because I saw a girl that I needed to move in Sokoto. While I'm driving there, I won't think about the cost of getting to Sokoto. But when I'm about to start, I'm asking myself, why? What in the world did you come here to do?
Right.
But doesn't mean I won't still go to the next expedition. I will. So if you have lived your life like that,
Explorer.
yes, and your spouse knows that that's how you have lived your life, you need to extend grace to that person when they behave somehow. You cannot determine when I will heal from the trauma you have caused me. You can't give me a time limit to heal. So when men say, but I beg now, I've asked for forgiveness, why is she still behaving this way? She will behave that way because you can't determine a time. She will heal for herself. You can't say you must heal within 2 months. No, it doesn't work that way. It could be a lifetime of healing because of the way you have behaved, but that's the consequence of your action. So if my wife wants to check my phone, I open it and I give it.
In fact, yeah, there's something, you have a custom when when she calls him when he travels, he goes on video call and starts walking around the room.
If my wife calls me voice call, I switch to video call. Anywhere I am. Once I'm not near her, I switch to video call.
And start walking around.
In an hotel room, I open the bedroom. The bedroom is. I'm not saying I'm check. I'm saying the bedroom is so beautiful. Look at the corridor. Look at the balcony. No, I'm saying I'm alone here.
Right. You are reinforcing.
That's all I'm saying. I'm alone here. At times I will check under the bed, see the form is thick. I'm alone here. So because there's always something at the back of the mind of that other person saying, has it changed? Or it's just become experts in hiding it. So there are friends that will be asking, that's your husband. Hey, 30 years ago, So she will come back and say, did it really change? So you have to reinforce it and reinforce it and reinforce it and reinforce it until, so you never become irritated when they do those things. So it's become far seldom, But once in a while, it's still, so if I go for a reunion now with my university mates, I can be sure that when I come back, my wife will check my phone for the next 1 or 2 weeks. Because some of my classmates were my girlfriends. So you still see them 30 years later. My wife is asking, did something happen over the weekend? Did they reconnect? So for the next 1 or 2 weeks, you have to tell her that we didn't reconnect anything. So you need to understand that, yes, trust is a decision you have to make. It's something from you, not because of what that person did. And if I can't trust that person, maybe it's better because it's just unnecessary baggage. It's just unnecessary baggage.
Picked up on it. So, you've described 2 sets of people, right? So there's a first set that earns stripes from somebody hurting them,
Correct.
just in a previous experience. And there's a second set of people that their own stripes is I was the one that caused the damage, and I'm trying to navigate
yes.
to become a better person.
Correct.
Yeah.
And how they both handle the conversation of trust
Yeah.
is different.
Mm.
You know, so maybe at some point we should also discuss what that journey looks like for both parties.
All right. So I think before we go there, I think with regards to trust, I think trust is like a stick. On one end is lack of trust. On the other side is trust. In the middle is where caution comes in.
Right.
Now, but there is also now, and so for those of us that are mathematical students, if you go after the trust, you then draw a line, right? And then there's that thing called blind trust,
In dotted lines.
or toxic trust, where that's where the issues of red flag comes in. So even with professional relationships, maybe you're trying to choose a business partner, or you're interviewing for a job. Let's talk a little about toxic trust, where there's signs. In fact, there's one of us says that this is not even a red flag; it's a red wall. But people still walk into those, red flags. Let's talk about issues around red flags.
See, that's where we delude ourselves, because innately we know these things. Our conscience, our mind speak to us about it, but we just ignore it because of something, some aspiration, some connection we think there should be there, or for something we are expecting, or on the pedestal we have put that person. We ignore those things until it becomes unbearable. When somebody continuously talks down on you, any suggestion you bring or idea is never good enough. They say, but you now see that those ideas are used later on by the same person, but when you are pushing it, it's not good enough, but the person is using it. This person is always telling you, reminding you of where they picked you from, how you are never good enough, how it's because they are your Messiah, and all those things. When people have consistently betrayed your trust, and you still progress.
But the question is, why do people do that?
Which part now? Like continually bash you, or
no? Why do people keep trusting to the extent that it then becomes toxic?
That's a question
delusion.
Okay.
So you talk about delusion.
You're not telling yourself the truth. You should cut these things off. There was a day I told my wife that we were watching a movie and then getting things on Instagram, and we saw where women mistreated their husbands and all. And I said I'll walk away. And I said I'll walk away. So I can live in a BQ and be happy. My wife said, what do you mean? I said I started my life in a BQ in university. I have very fond memories of my BQ. My toilet and bath was just one side. My room was there. You didn't need to trek a lot. I just leave my bedroom and enter and then come out. It was quiet. It was fun. In a 4x4 room, a man can live happily. Everything we have there is just about ego, just about I want to be here. How do people see me? How do they perceive me? All those are external. What you need to be happy is not more than a BQ room. So if I have a BQ room and I have a car that is aircon because I live in Lagos and I'm making some money, what have I lost? And she couldn't understand it. So when people say I have to be there, they don't have to be there. They are there because of the status they want to maintain, the impression they want people to have of them, the benefits they are getting. If you can live above those things, nobody can pressurize you.
So there is the part where people are afraid of of being termed as the person that broke the relationship. Right. So they are the ones that are always extending grace, to their own detriment.
But Don, I keep saying, check very well. They are not afraid of breaking relation. They are afraid of what they will lose if they walk out. A lot of men that are toxic, and people keep extending grace to, know the kind of power, or even if it's a woman, the kind of power they wield in society in terms of means.
And they still want a part of it.
And they know you. They know that you want those things, and they tell you that if you take a step, we'll deny you, we'll take the children from you. And so they use that as a trap, and then you are, in that for life. It's always a cycle. The same thing repeats itself. You catch him with a girlfriend today. He says, if you say anything to my whatever, that means Dubai has been cancelled. But you have told your girlfriend that you meet in Dubai, all of you want to do selfie, so you keep quiet. And it goes on, it repeats itself over and over again. The day you say enough, that's the day you are free.
And you are willing to walk away with almost nothing.
Are we willing to walk away?
I know you are enjoying the conversation, but I would like to ask you to like, comment, and would like to hear from you. So if you have a story, please share your stories with us. If you have a question, please put it down there, and then we'll get back to it. We would like to engage with you. And with that said, let's go back to the conversation.
Right. I'll be honest and say that all of this is really eye-opening for me, because primarily when I hear the term trust, first thing that comes to my mind is purity. So when
trust.
Yeah, like trust should be pure. Trust should be something that you desire. There's a, like, at the nucleus of a relationship or something tangible is that trust, knowing that both of you have this thing that keeps you bonded. But then hearing things like toxic trust, sort of just is doing cartwheels in my mind, because I'm thinking,
it's almost like an oxymoron.
Exactly, like, because I'm thinking, why should something pure then be toxic? But then hearing even the analogy of what you said about the pole, so in the middle there's caution, and then toxic, there's trust, and then toxic trust. I guess for me, just to again further enlighten me, would then be, at what point do you cross? We've talked about red flags. We've defined it to say that, and I really liked how you said is delusional. So it's possible that one can be, disguising distrust, but then you're just in a state where
in your mind you are fooling yourself, but you still go ahead.
So it's no longer trust at that point.
It's your desire, is what you want that is pushing you. So I trust my husband. Everybody's laughing at you. You know they are laughing at you. You know they are correct. But you're saying, I trust my husband. But you know that he's probably sleeping with all your friends.
And house girls.
Yeah, and maybe the house girl.
It also sounds like village people.
And then you get,
sometimes people are their village people. Indiscipline can be part of your village people, right? And when you just allow yourself to be ruled by your senses, your wants. So most times you have that Ronaldo Messi debate, but I'm not sure Ronaldo wakes up in the morning thinking, will I like to run today or not? He knows that discipline is part of what it takes to become that greatest that he has become to us, or to Messi.
Right.
Ronaldo cannot just eat anything because he has seen it on the road. This thing, I used to eat it when I was young. Yes, when you were young, it was easy to eat it, but now you can't eat it. So you can't be ruled by your senses. But there's something I wanted to talk about the, if you look through your Bible and look at the story of those 10 virgins, where they said some were, the 5 were wise, the others were foolish, and when the foolish one asked the other ones whether they could get them some oil, there's something that the wise one said that I think should be instructional to a lot of us. They said, we cannot give you oil because it will not be enough for you, and then it will not be enough for us. The problem many times is that in trying to extend grace to people, we then lose a part of ourselves. To the sense that yes, it's good to be kind, forgiving, but there's also a part where the Bible also gives you that permission to stay alive.
Right.
If my trusting you is going to put my life and my children's life and the things that God has committed into my hands in danger, then I think that it is going to also be in God's interest that you protect yourself. Right. Why did God tell Joseph to carry Jesus and escape.
Return to Egypt.
Oh, the angel, he could have given his angels charge over him. Is it not what the Bible said? But he instructed them,
flee.
Baba Joe, escape.
So it makes sense that the next line of questioning should then be, at what point do you know to
that you have
divorce
you
and
have
move
crossed?
on? Yeah.
No,
I use divorce loosely. I mean, just say separate yourself and then from that situation and move on. Yeah.
I think we all know. See, the Yoruba people will say the wicked person knows. He's just waiting for who to tell him.
In fact, Brian Tracy also says that people that will be fired they only want to wait to know how long they can stay in the organization before they are fired.
I also have a quote so I can sound wise. They say that when relationships end, it's not really when they end.
Yes, it's when somebody
has ended a long time ago. It's just when somebody had the audacity to say,
correct.
Okay, now let's stop.
Okay, now that we are all wise.
Somebody had the bravery.
Yes.
To say it is enough.
Right.
I can't take any more.
Right.
So we all know when to separate. But the question is, will we separate?
Right.
And it goes back to what you are benefiting from that relationship. Some people will say, I'd rather cry in a Ferrari than laugh
in a B2.
In a B2.
In fact, they use this our Toyota.
Yes, it's a Toyota. The mess of Toyota. I drive Toyota. I'm just cheap. My wife calls me cheap. My wife says you just drive Toyota all over the place. You don't want to buy fuel, cheap steak. But see, what I think should be uppermost in anybody's life is my peace of mind. Because material things are just material things. See, when you enter that Ferrari and you are crying, the kind of pain you will bear in that Ferrari. Is almost unbearable. Because at the point you won't see the wealth again. You only see discomfort. And you begin to ask yourself, how did I get here? And at that time it's already a trap. The societal expectations are there, your standard for yourself is there, how do I handle my children is there, all sorts of things are there. And then you are trapped. And then you are miserable day in, day out. You would have forgotten I want to say that I'd rather cry in a Ferrari, which you are now doing. Okay? But how do we get to a point where we say enough? Is to tell ourselves the truth, really. Is this what I want for my life?
This is what I want for my life.
And you can tell yourself the truth. If it's what you want for your life, you continue. If it's not what you want for your life, you make a decision. And it doesn't have to be always husband and wife, In fact,
that's also even where I want us to bring this topic to. With regards to career, business partnerships, and business as a...
Can I throw in friendships also? Because I feel like, they say something about how in relationships, heartbreaks from relationships are very painful. But I also am on the bandwagon that believes that heartbreaks in friendships also can be equally painful.
Yes.
I'm of the school that your friends, so if I define friend, it means that somebody I can always fall back on.
Right.
And I don't have to give notice.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. You just fall. And yes. And then they are there to catch you. Yes.
In my own experience, it can never be more than 3 or 4.
Well, if you are pushing 3 or 4, I don't know that they are still close friends or close circle.
So these friends I'm talking about, I grew up with them. These are people that if I misbehave, my wife picks up a phone
and calls them straight
and says he's misbehaving.
Right.
And I get a call. Once I get that call,
that.
And I say, Alausa, behave yourself. He's not asking me what I've done. It's not his business what I've done.
Right.
He's just saying, behave yourself. I'm the one that will be struggling to explain. Behave yourself. Now, it's not because they feed me. It's not because they will do anything to me, really. It's just because over the years, I become accountable to you.
Yes.
You become accountable to me, and I value those relationships.
Right.
Okay, so I hear people say that it's confident, self-made man nowadays, and they think it's a strength. It's an avenue. When that self-made man, confident, is strong-willed, and they think he's cute when they are describing their boyfriend. He's not cute. It's a disaster waiting to happen because when the chips are down, you can speak to this person. So we need to understand that real friendships, really, people that even when they are knocking you, you know your heart of hearts that is your best interest. The problem is we now mislabel relationships. People that are acquaintances, people that we
In fact,
met on the road.
that's one of the things I
call them
learned
friends.
very, very,
You
very.
call them- they are not
You
your
need
friends.
to know the nomenclature. There
Yeah,
are some
it's
of
not friends.
people that are your classmates.
Correct.
There are
Let
people
them be
that are
classmates.
colleagues. You
Let
have
them be
to.
colleagues,
Then there
yeah.
are these ones that are my
Some can
acquaintances.
grow into friends.
Yes.
Right.
But
Some
you see,
can
these
grow into
ones are my friends.
But if they grow into those friends, label them appropriately, and that's why we get.
You can
hurt.
say this one is even my
Right,
church
That's
member.
why
right.
you feel betrayed.
Right.
Because those people never owed you anything. You are the one that thought they were your friends. They were never your friends, and they acted who they were. You are the one that expected something more.
So that toxic trust.
Right. Now comes back to
Yes.
Because you are then expecting
Yeah.
what they don't
They
have the
couldn't give
capacity
you
to
or
give
will
to
not
you.
owe
Right.
you.
Right.
You know, you say this person is my friend, but it's not my boyfriend. No, which one you are in competition? She just got the better of you. You don't expect.
After everything I told her, why?
Yeah.
So on one basis were you even telling her
Correct.
all
These
those
things.
things?
Somebody you mislabeled.
Do you understand? So I think that with regards to toxic trust, red flag, especially with business, there's a concept that is called Pyrrhic victory, where the cost of getting the victory vis-a-vis the victory you got was not worth it.
Yes.
Right.
So
the benefits.
the benefits,
Right. Come after.
The sacrifice,
the sacrifice you had
outweighs
to
the
make,
reward.
yeah. So the sacrifice you had to make in trying to get that victory was not worth it in the end. That's how many people have sacrificed their marriages, sacrificed their relationships,
Their
even
business,
sacrificed
yeah.
the wellness of their children just because they were trying to get 1 million, 2 million, 1 billion. Right, so those are that's how you can also begin to think about red flags. There are interviews you will walk into. I'm sure you've had one or two that you know that this organization is not for me. Let's just talk. Let's just
me
talk.
gain experience.
Let me just gain
What
experience.
like.
Let me just see what this
I can't
interview.
compare.
What if they are good actors?
No,
So that's the thing. You
Something will
cannot
slip.
be perfect. Even
Something
with
will
crime,
slip.
something will slip.
And then you ask around about from people. And today you have social media. Somebody must have said something about that company.
In fact, the worst you should even be afraid of when you don't have
Anything.
anything
To find out about
to find out about them, then you may be looking at professionals
They
in
are
PR.
controlled. It's controlled.
It's controlled. So that's how it works. So let's end with this, and let's end with this. So you see someone now that has gotten into blind trusts, someone that has seen red flags. How do we run?
He should borrow himself
Pray
sense.
for them. Fasting and prayer,
It's
deliverance.
not- we have already prayed. They didn't hear. It's to borrow sense.
And no, how do you borrow them sense?
It's to tell themselves the truth. See, okay, let me give an example.
Yes, please.
I-
Examples work for me.
I had a girlfriend a long time ago, and she came to my house because we used to live in Ife. So she came to my house early in the morning. I was not in university at that time. She was in UI. So she came to my house maybe around 10 in the morning and stayed with me till like 4. So he told me that it was getting late at that time. So I said, okay, you can't go back home because I already told them at home, bye-bye. And so you have to travel. She said, no, it's too late for her to travel. It's getting, those days were bomb, the kidnappers, not as bad as now, but so she had to stay somewhere. Now, at that time, I was still at home. My mom, God bless my mom. If she comes back around 6 and that girl is still there, okay, I won't say more than that. But so she had to leave. So she now said, okay, she can't go back home and she can't travel. I have to drop her at her uncle's place. I said, no problem.
I remember this story.
I said, no problem. So I took her to her uncle's place. So when she came down, I lighted from the car. I wanted to drive. She raked that. This is how you know people that don't have any commitment, no plan for their girlfriend. You brought me to my uncle's place that you have never met, and you drop me and you go away. So in shame,
You packed.
I had to come down.
You had to
right.
pack
I had
properly.
to put my hand behind my back to go and greet uncle and all that. And then she escorted me out and then I left. maybe like 2-3 weeks after she comes back into town and says, well, her conscience is not allowing her to rest. She had to come and see me. I said, what happened? He said, well, because she knows that I'm a reasonable person, I'm not violent, I'm this one and that one. That uncle was actually her boyfriend.
What?
Look how
that uncle I love that was actually her boyfriend. What do you want me to do? Was actually her boyfriend. Now, I was going to drive off, but she
even made it
guilt tripped me into coming down from the car.
Oh my God.
And I went inside and I had to prostrate for
a boyfriend.
For uncle. And I said, okay, you allow so I've heard so much about you.
What?
You know, so okay, you're about to get to university now. She told me you're about to get to school now and all that. And they wish me well, you know, that university is tough, this one, that one. But
even advised you.
Yeah, older person was single. Older person, you know, has his own flat, you know, I saw cars outside. Older person, senior, you know. And then I was almost saying, I can get close to this person, you know. But this was an extremely pretty girl, Presley, you know, pretty. I still see her once in a while, and we just sit and we laugh. But she told me, because I don't know whether it was my mother's prayer that was, but something made her come to tell me. So how do I trust a girl
like
that is going to her uncle after that? Till I settled down with my wife, I did not drop any girl anywhere. If I don't drop you at the bus stop, from your house, my house, you go, or I take you to the home I know where they give back to you. But for me to drop you anywhere, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So my point is that, so you know these things.
But sorry, I want to find out, how did that conversation end with her, you know?
I was just looking at her. You know, I can control my feelings a lot. I don't get angry unnecessarily. I don't shout. My wife, for a long time, was very afraid of me. How are you able to control your emotions? You don't fly off the handle. How are you able to control your emotions this much? You know, I had one boss when I worked somewhere, and when I started working, we had a challenge in the office. It was a disaster, and it was in my unit that it happened. But she said, the calmness, that she had never seen anything like that. She said it was dangerously calm. How can everybody be freaking out? And this guy, who is supposed to be the fulcrum, is so relaxed. My motto is, if I shout, what does it solve? If I jump off the balcony, what does it solve? Let me just have my calm and be able to think and get out of this. So in my mind, we'll say, hi, Alaska, you have lost this one. This one is 1-0. Serious 1-0.
You lost to our uncle.
Oh, yes. serious 1-0. But I learned from there.
Wow.
I learned from there. But this was a girl that I know she liked me. But she probably is disciplined. She probably felt that don't let me put all my eggs in one basket because men are just
and you were young.
Men are scum. And it's basically from her own experience. So I understood where she was coming from.
And she lost this gentleman now.
Oh, I only understand that this one could not be my forever. That's all.
Yeah.
You know?
Because so blind trust will be giving her that benefit of doubt.
Still going ahead.
We didn't quarrel for a long time, you know. We just grew apart. You know, that we didn't even quarrel. But this was once she's on my arm, it just pushes my ego. This girl was extremely pretty.
Interesting.
I suspect somebody's going to see this and start thinking, if she's extremely pretty, don't go there. Pretty is fine.
The pretty is fine.
Once she tells you she has an uncle somewhere, it's red flag.
The uncle may be genuine.
Right.
So please, let's not stigmatize uncles. There are good uncles out there.
Good uncles, great uncles.
All right. So as we conclude, I want everyone to know this, that while trust is a very, very important topic that we should grow in, get to know more about, but there is also an end that we don't want all of us to get into, which is the toxic and the blind trust, and where we need to recognize that if there is a red flag, if there is something that we should be aware of, we should not trivialize it and we should not take it lightly. So thank you so much for joining our conversation. I hope this has been very, very insightful for you. We'd like to know what you think, and to hear your experiences. And so would like to hear from you. So please, shoot us a mail, drop a comment, let's hear your thoughts on DMs, and we're really looking forward to engaging with you. So until then, thank you so much, gentlemen, for the time, for your wisdom, and may our eyes never be closed to red flags.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Such a powerful prayer.
Amen. Amen.